We're delighted you're here. And we have some messages first, as we traditionally do, from members of our community. Wes Benz. Where's Wes? Community chest. There we are.
Thank you. Many people say that how you help others defines who you are. As teachers, administrators, or staff, we constantly help students and colleagues. But we should also be helping those in our community by volunteering and/or making donations. What I want to talk about today is the Alfred University Charities Drive. It supports 3 charitable campaigns. How can you help? We recommend that you give where you live. Choose the campaign that serves the community in which you reside. Make a donation to support the organizations they fund, or choose the individual organizations that they support. Second, if you wish, give where you work. Because of your generosity, an ambulance ride from Alfred to a local hospital is free. Third, look at the list provided to you of agencies supported by each campaign. Based on the agencies they sponsor, choose the campaign or campaigns to support. The United Way of the Southern Tier funds organizations in Steuben County. They include the YMCA in Hornell, the Girl Scouts, and Catholic Charities of Steuben County. The Alfred Station Community Chest serves our immediate area. AU employees provide over 1/2 of their budget, supporting organizations such as the Alfred Food Pantry, the Alfred Ambulance Service, and the Heart Comfort House in Wellsville. Several of our colleagues have been cared for at this facility free of charge during their final days. The Allegheny County United Way serves the rest of Allegheny County. Their agencies include the Salvation Army, Home Care and Hospice, and the Accord Domestic Violence Program. If you choose a particular campaign, you may exclude agencies which you don't want to support. For example, if you write exclude Red Cross, none of your donations will go to the Red Cross. How can you donate? In early October, after the school taxes have been paid, you will receive a solicitation packet from us. You may either send a check or checks in the enclosed envelope made out to the campaign or campaigns you wish to support, or you can complete the payroll deduction form in the mailing, send it in the envelope that comes with it, and it goes by campus mail. This allows you to spread your donations over the entire year. It's a fairly painless way to donate, just 50 cents for each workday. That'd be $5 per biweekly paycheck. Allows you to give $130 per year to help our communities help make our communities better places in which to live. AU automatically sends the money to the campaign or campaigns you choose. We also forward your specific donation wishes. Thanks, you will be hearing from us. Let's put it that way. We will remind you. Thanks in advance.
Thanks, Wes. Thank you, Wes. Next from our mayor, Becky Prophet.
Thank you. Tim Cox is joining me here. Thank you. I am the mayor of Alfred. I don't think I bought any votes, but if you have babies I can kiss, I'll do that when I run again. I'm here to bring you greetings from the village of Alfred and speak to the importance of a long and productive and continuing friendly relationship between the two. I believe Magic Valley, that part of that magic is the lockstep unity between Alfred University and the village of Alfred. If I asked for a show of hands how many live in the village or town of Alfred, I think we'd find that we'd like to have a lot more of you. So would you all think about moving to the village and you get the benefits of the terrific Alfred Elman school system and so on. But Alfred's shared history, the village people founded what became Alfred University, and the connection between the two has remained for decades. We share the same place. Please use the spaces we have in the village. We certainly share the same aspirations and values. And to get down to the nitty-gritty, we have 29 paved streets. Feel free to use them, but if you're driving, wear your seatbelt. 1,500 year-round residents participate regularly in Alfred University events, and also we hope you, as people who live and work, or just work in Alfred, not just work, it's important work, will join the village in a number of initiatives. One will be, by the way, a memorial service for Matt Mueller, which will involve us walking around the village picking up trash and redeemables, something Matt Mueller did every day. So that will be the first Saturday in September. We will remind you. Alfred, besides 29 paved streets and 15 year-round residents sharing cultural events, we have perfect weather. And all of this energy, activity, intellectual and cultural engagement is packed into 1 square mile. We should be proud of ourselves for the way we use it. As Wes has suggested, a number of village people and a number of Alfred University people are needed as volunteers to keep both portions of this Magic Valley functioning. And one of those volunteers, Wes, is a firefighter, 50 years membership, something in that range, and maybe more. I'm an EMT, and I'm going to introduce Tim Cox, who is also an EMT and a volunteer firefighter, and he's going to talk to you about the importance of our fire company.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Just wanted to say a couple of words to you from your local fire and ambulance company, known as the A. Crandall Hook and Ladder Company, or more familiarly, Alfred Fire and Ambulance. Myself, as Becky said, I help out with patient care. I drive ambulance. I am also secretary of the organization. And I've been with the organization almost since the beginning of my time here at Alfred. I arrived in 2008, and in that autumn, joined the company, and I've never enjoyed anything so much in my life as being part of the very nice large group of people. Could I ask those people to stand, please, and help everybody see who you are? And we have many more members of the university who are also members of the Alfred and Fire Ambulance, Alfred and Fire and Ambulance organization. I want to give a shout out as well, of course, to the idea of volunteering in other communities. Many of you live in Andover, some of you live in Belmont area, some of you live in Almond. All of these communities need more volunteers pretty urgently. So if you have that streak in you that wants to do something a little bit wild, by all means get involved. As others have indicated, we're completely a volunteer organization. Nobody gets compensated for doing the work that we do. A lot of time and effort go into training, into socializing, getting to know each other better, and that's really the best part of it. We spend an awful lot of time training, an awful lot of time, well, I shouldn't say awful, it's actually great time, training and maintaining the facilities and the vehicles and that kind of thing. It's really a wonderful way to be a part of this community beyond we see a lot of daylight pictures, beautiful blue sky. What goes on at night can be another picture, and it's also beautiful. So, I would strongly encourage all of you to consider, if you are not of the volunteering sort or you just don't have time, I bet you money that you know somebody who lives nearby you, or somebody who is part of your life who could be part of one of these organizations. So if you could urge those people also to consider participating, that would be an enormous help to, again, all of the fire and ambulance organizations which exist within the local area. Alfred in particular, of course, is very close to my heart, but we're all in this together, all of the communities around here. So, it's really just about the best way that you can be a part of what goes on outside of the university, and oftentimes what goes on inside. More on that sometime. All right, so let's see. We spend a lot of time working together. It's one big happy family, really. I know that's a cliche, but it's an incredible spirit. And President Zupan and the leadership here at the university have done a great deal of good work to develop all of that feeling within this campus and outside the campus, and I would urge you very much to extend that beyond to the rest of the community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Tim and Becky. We have the great pleasure to have our board chair with us, who starts his second year as our chair, a member of our class of '92, Greg Connors, who wants to offer greetings from the Board of Trustees.
The hook and ladder, the last time I was here earlier in the spring, there was a great Bergen Forum, and when you said wild, it made me think of that. Wasn't it talking about rigor mortis and lost underwear or something? But thanks for having me. Coming into campus yesterday, I could feel the excitement and I could feel the energy. The students aren't even here yet, but I could just sense it in the valley. We referenced Magic Valley earlier, and coming from Hornell and spending 4 years here, what went on here while I was here truly was magical. But the magic comes from everybody in this room. This is what makes Alfred out of ordinary. Everyone here is what really generates and makes a difference in students' lives, from when they come in as freshmen to when they leave as seniors. And so as you're here and you're back in town, and it's great to see everybody back, know that what makes Alfred special, what makes Alfred magical, what makes Alfred extraordinary, is everyone in this room. No matter what your responsibilities are, no matter where you are, what you do in the school, no matter what college you're at, we are Alfred University first and foremost. And what I always try to tell my kids is we are a family. You have your own individual personality, which we will garner, we will support, but first and foremost, we are a family. And when I look out across here today, and I know the impact that each individual, when I was on campus, from the staff doing ground, saying hello to me as I walked by, saying great game, people like Dr. Porter in the classroom, the coaches, Bob Heineman, who inspired me to actually study before I went to class. Everyone here really makes a difference. And being on the board and working with Mark and the administration, I want to reinforce to you what you bring to the table every day to the students. And the energy and the passion that you bring to learning is palpable for us. And we all can feel it. And so as you go on and as you get into the great time of the year here, which is between December and April, keep that passion, keep that energy, because every single one of you is touching someone's life and you're making a difference. And from the bottom of my heart, and from every single member who's an alum, and every single member of the Board of Trustees, we cannot thank you enough. So have a great year, and thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. Would next like to introduce the members of the cabinet and thank them individually and poignantly for all the good work they do, and they in turn will introduce our newbies to the faculty and staff. Want to start with our VP of Academic Affairs and Provost, Rick Stevens. We, a few months ago, achieved Mid-States accreditation. This has been a project that he's spearheaded for the last 3 years, continuing letters that we had to file. A number of individuals like Beth Andobi and Lori McFadden in particular did yo person's work helping. But just a measure of the dedication of this individual, Rick, he had to have shoulder surgery a few years ago and postponed the surgery, even though it risked some health issues, just so we could file the letter in time to Mid-States. We're free and clear now to year 2022-23. We will take the lessons to heart from the process, but in asking him to come up, we have a framed Mid-States Commission on Higher Education, so it's official. So thank you, Rick.
There goes the shoulder. More insurance. I think my jokes are funny. Oh, my. I was struck by something that I need to say. These kinds of gatherings are happening all across the country right now in some form or another, maybe not an all faculty, staff, and employee breakfast, but something sort of like this. I doubt there is another single one that begins its official agenda by talking about charity to others. Think about that. I have never been another place that does that. It touches my heart, and I'm feeling a little bit of a tear coming. This is pretty special. I'm just glad to be a part of things here. I have a list of people that I'm going to read. I'm going to ask you if you would just hold your applause until I kind of give you a wave or something, and then we'll do it, on several different occasions to recognize folks. But we have a lot of new people who have chosen to join us, and that's a great thing because it infuses us with new ideas. We've had some fond and on a few occasions some sad farewells, but we keep rebuilding this community, and so I will move on with it. So, in the College of Business this year, we have a couple of new faculty. Dr. Robert Irons, and if you would just stand up, hold your applause. Dr. Robert Irons and Mr. Scott Sessler as Assistant Professor of Accountancy. Please welcome us, or welcome you. Thank you. In the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, it's a bit longer list here. Dr. Harpreet Badai, Assistant Professor of Math and Computer Science. Mr. Liam Glover, Visiting Clinical Coordinator of Athletic Training. Ms. Melissa Goff, Secretary of Education, for Education. Dr. Heiko Gary Heiserman, Visiting Assistant Professor of Biology. Dr. Elizabeth Matson, Assistant Professor of Mathematics. Ms. Janet McLean, Part-time Secretary for Modern Languages. Dr. Alexandria Natoli, Visiting Assistant Professor of French. Dr. Tim Nichols, Chair, Education and Associate Professor. Mr. Matthew Oakes, Clinical Instructor of Athletic Training. Ms. Nikki Satori, Secretary for Psychology. Dr. Mallory Zemansky, Assistant Professor of History. And then we have a few people who are changing positions. Crystal Henshaw took over for Karen Reeder as Assistant to the Dean. Jared Cooper is now our Assistant Dean, moving over from Enrollment Management. Juliana Gray is our new Honors Program Coordinator or Director. That's why we're wondering why Gordon is here. And Jeff Slider Beltrao in new positions. Welcome them all, please. Thank you. Sorry about that, Gordon. Not really. Yes. School of Art and Design. Please stand, and again, please hold your applause. Mr. Hiram Cray, Art Force 5 Teaching Fellow. Ms. Shelley Grant, Administrative Assistant to the Dean. Mr. Jonathan Hopp, Assistant Professor of Ceramic Art. Mr. Khalil Irving, Visiting Faculty, Turner Teaching Fellow. Mr. Tim McKee, Woodshop Technician. Ms. Kendra Napier-Fanache, Secretary for in Performing Arts. Ms. Rebecca Pavloff, Research Administrative Specialist. Mr. Jesse Plask, Gallery Preparator. Ms. Sam Sloan, DP&P Technician. Ms. Catherine Veda, Clinical Assistant Professor. Welcome. In the Division of Performing Arts, Mr. Dustin Woodard, Visiting Instructor of Music, and G.D. Kimball, Visiting Director of Theater. School of Engineering, I've been warned that most of these people are not here, so if you don't see anybody standing, I'm not lying, they're just not here. They're either en route or doing other kinds of things. Dr. Amit Maha, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering. Mr. Jim Miles is now full-time as Technician and Machinist in Mechanical Engineering. Mr. Darren Storr, Electron Microscopist. Try to say that really fast 3 times. Ms. Christina Vetter, Secretary. Dr. Kun Wong, Assistant Professor of Material Science and Engineering. And Dr. Tim Keenan, Assistant Professor of Biomaterials, moved over from the CAT as Project Manager. Congratulations to them all. List is getting short. From our new School of Graduate and Continuing Studies, you'll hear us use the phrase AUNY, meaning that it can happen anywhere in the state of New York. We have Mr. Cody Crippen, Admissions Specialist. We have Dr. Bradford Daly, Assistant Professor of School Psychology, and Patty Potter as a new Secretary. Welcome. In Information Technology Services, we have Mr. Glenn Depew, Administrative Systems Support Specialist, Mr. Evan Linza, AV Technician, and Dan Hausman has new responsibilities, new Learning Spaces Technology Specialist. He took over for Tyler Brandt. Thank you all. In the Registrar's Office, Ms. Tracy Squires, Student Service Specialist. Right over there. And in Scholes Library, Ms. Samantha Danick, Engineering Scholarly Communication Librarian. That's a great title. And John Hosford is now new Art Librarian in Scholes. Got a lot of new people to get to know. Thank you all.
Thanks, Rick. We'd like to also recognize 2 new leaders in our decanal ranks. Lori Lounsbury McFadden, who begins a role as interim dean of our library. So Lori, thank you. Where are you? There you are. Whoops. And then also a graduate of ours from 2004, Gabrielle Gausted, who will start in January. She had perfect scores coming to Alfred University on the SAT, math and verbal. She was one of our national merit scholars. She ended up graduating from here, and she first became familiar with Alfred University when she was an engineering student in a summer camp. Also in the process, met her husband, Jeff, and that kind of motivated both of them to start with us in ceramic engineering. They both went off to MIT. She's a Course 3 graduate, which is pretty much as high as it gets there. I think it's electrical engineering and physics. Maybe everything's by numbers there. I'm a lowly course 14 graduate in economics. And Alan Grove, where's Alan? Alan's a course 27 graduate in English, so. But we think some of you already know her from having taught her. It was just marvelous to watch her and Alistair Cormack in action last week in Fremont, California, with Tesla and building that relationship. We both got off the same plane. I was expecting we'd have to wait for her luggage. I had taken my rollaway with me and discovered she only was traveling with her backpack, even though it was a 2-day trip. So she has hit the ground running, and you'll be seeing more of her this fall, and we're delighted to have her on board with us. Next, would like to introduce Jason Amor. Jason, where are you? Come on up. We knew Jason was good in marketing. We have a lot of great things to report, basically hit every target we set in terms of gifts, commitments, Alfred Fund. We had a record year of 1.7 million. We've been averaging under his tenure over 21 million in new gifts and commitments. We're about to announce a 3.4 million bequest commitment for psychology. A couple, and it'll happen 20, 30 years down the road, but these kind of investments in our future help build a more magnificent future for us. Just like Judy Leondar, we're benefiting now in our strategic investment fund from the bequest commitment she made a couple decades ago to our university. The one thing when we were recruiting Jason, and so the sales acumen has proven true, but the biggest testament is when we were recruiting him, he said, my wife and I have just bought this house in the Rochester area. We built a new kitchen. I can't get Kara to move, so I'm gonna have to be commuting. Are you okay with that? And so for almost 2 years, he's been commuting on a daily basis, and we were okay because it was close to an airport. We need this person to be mobile, reaching our alums around the country. But he's now a new resident of our community. You talk Kara, so that's when you're able to make that sales pitch. And we want to thank him and his team for all their accomplishments, but you'll find out if you know Jason, that was last year. So we have a little something to give him this year. So this year, having met the target, have you got 1.9 million for the Alfred Fund? So Jason, we got a t-shirt for you. Yeah.
Morning, everybody. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I close on my house this afternoon, so I'm really, really superstitious. I feel like I'm going to get there, and they're going to be like, we're just joking. I'm currently living with my mother-in-law. I don't even have to say anything after that, right? I can just leave it right there. Yeah, it's. But anyways, first off, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here for the second year. I just want to take a quick moment. I want to thank all the folks who are serving breakfast and taking care of the things in here. John, Ryan, Heather, Josie, the AVI team and your wait staff do a great job. So thank you for all you do for us. We appreciate that. And also, as we were walking across campus last night, Greg and I, we were looking at dorms and talking to students and seeing the preparations for our facilities folks to get this place up and running. It's a huge endeavor. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate all the facilities folks who are here today. So thank you very much for that. It's a huge endeavor, so thank you. So I'm going to announce our three people in advancement. The great thing is we can go quick. That's the great thing. But I'm excited to be here. I love Alfred University. I'm glad everyone's here. I got to see one of my favorite professors this morning, Robin Goodman. She reminded me that I was a sophomore during her first year. I'm aging not real well. She is aging well. She's been here 24 years. She's one of the best. So great to see you this morning, Robin. Thank you for coming and saying hello to me. Love it. So I have three new employees who are working with us at University Advancement. First of all, we have Mark Reardon, who joined us about a year ago from a little school in Texas called Texas A&M. And if you know our vice president of enrollment, he went to the other smaller, lesser-known school in Texas called the University of Texas at Austin. So wherever Brian Dalton is. But thank you for joining us, Mark. Appreciate it. We have another gentleman who he couldn't make it today, Brian Shanahan. He's our Director of Corporate and Foundation Relations. He's been here about a month and reaching out and talking to folks, but he's out of town today. And then our third new employee, Megan Thomas, she's our Information Specialist and runs our phone-a-thon. So this young woman, yes. When you see 607-871-2111, pick up the phone. They're wonderful young people, and I swear they won't ask you for money for at least one sentence. They'll ask how you're doing, what's going on, but she does a great job. But I just want to welcome you all back. Thank you, and I'm going to go put my shirt on.
Brian, where are you? Come on up. Mary McAllister and I are still trying to kick the Diet Coke habit. And so we stock the fridge we have in our office with different types of Diet Coke. And we're making some headway, but there's one person that we've discovered on campus drinks this stuff an order of magnitude bigger, more than we do. And every time Brian comes down, he's always mooching Diet Coke. So yeah, we're noticing. So it took a lot of searching, but as you know, they're personalizing. So we had to have it custom made, thanks to Lisa Sexsmith. So Brian, we've got this for you. And it goes with what's underneath the cover there. There's one for each new student coming to campus. As of this morning, 517, which is 45 more than last year at the same point in time. As you saw in the email, but you can go ahead. Seriously?
Now, where's my wife? Dinah, where are you? Now, she will attest to you, I do not drink a lot of Diet Coke. It's just that there's some type of pleasure I get from going to Mark's office and getting in on his Diet Coke. So if any of you drink Diet Coke, see me afterwards and we'll kind of parse these out. Wow, what a terrific year. I'm going on my second year. So last year, I got here in late May and had a chance to talk just about what I was hoping that we would achieve this year. And part of what you heard me say was that this really was the year of the heavy lift. We were going into this year after being on a 3, 4, 5-year slide in terms of the classes where we are right now, that had repercussions across campus. We knew we needed to reverse that. We didn't have a lot of tools. You know, our website was in bad shape, and thank goodness we're in much better shape now, but we went really throughout the recruitment year without that. We also really didn't have much in the way of publications because we were doing this new branding campaign, and we have some terrific publications coming out of that. If you get a chance to see our new view book, we'll get copies out there. We'll get copies so you can see it, and now we have our new CRM. So it really was a year in which we really had to rely on a very talented staff in Alumni Hall, both on the financial aid side and on the admissions side, getting out there on the road, welcoming people to campus, inviting and relishing in the work that all of you did in welcoming people to campus, meeting with students, coming to open houses, writing to students, returning phone calls, doing everything that you do that exemplifies what it is that we say about ourselves. An immersive experience, a place where small and personal is not just trite language, it's all about who we are. And I think that this year is a demonstration of what the potential is. We've turned that around. Apparently, we've turned that around, knocking on wood. The census day hasn't arrived yet, but it looks like we've got a good class coming back. It looks like our momentum is going to shift in the way that we deserve. And we've got to cherish this momentum. We should be one of maybe 2 privates in the whole state of New York that are showing numbers like we did. And you know what that buzz can do for you. And we have to capitalize that on all we can. I've been on campuses that ironically have been very humble. In other words, with all the great things that we do, I think people are, by their nature, they don't like to beat their chests and the like. And I think we need to. We need to talk with pride about our alums, our faculty, our students, the new students that are coming in. They will be a challenge because more than half of them are first generation. That is, I relish that challenge because this is the future leaders of our country. And we have a chance to directly impact the role that they're going to play in society. So the heavy lift now then moves to you, the faculty and the staff. We've got to do more that we can to support these students. We have more students coming from abroad than we've had in quite some time, and that number is going to increase. So part of marketing a interesting, powerful, eclectic campus is the fact that we will be broadening our student population. And if we want to be more competitive with the Hobarts and the Canisius and the Niagaras and the Rochesters and RIT and things like that, we have to develop a population that represents the sophistication of those types of institutions. But we're going to be doing it here, I mean, in Allegheny County on this place. And it has, and we've seen this, the appeal of this environment, this enclave, this powerful circumstance in which you have terrific faculty that literally could teach anywhere, but they choose to come here. And you as staff, many of you have been here for so long, your heart is in this place, and it will pay off. It does pay off, but even more so, I think, in the future as we look towards growing the campus, as we look for an expanded student body, as we look for our appeal to rise, as we look for our profile to improve. Our retention rates certainly need to improve that, but I'll tell you what, compared, Rick was saying it feels different, and Greg was saying it feels different. It feels different for me. I was excited last year at this time. I am super excited to continue to work and with a talented team in Alumni Hall to do the things that we're doing. I'm trying to do my best to make sure that I'm communicating to all of you about where it is that we are. You get my memos and things like that. I met with the business faculty yesterday. That was a good exchange. We're doing everything we can to elevate and restore the College of Business to where it ought to be, which is a premier institution within Alfred, within New York State and its own appeal. So lots of exciting things, and I have all of you that I continue to meet and welcome to Alumni Hall and things like that. But it's been a great year. It's been a great year for us too on the hiring side. As you know, last year when I came in, I was absent someone to oversee our financial aid process, which is really important. I mean, if you want a thankless job, in addition to HR, Mark, right? Financial aid is probably it. They work behind the scenes. You don't see them all that much, but they occupy lots of time. They spend a lot of time with our students, not just the domestic students, but also with downstate and graduate students and the like. And so we needed a leader in that group, and we did a national search. I mean, we went all over the place. We looked high, on both coasts, we went all over the place, and found out that Jane Gilliland was right across the street. So we were fortunate enough to get her from A-State, and she is our executive director for financial aid. So hold your applause, but Jane, welcome. In addition, on the financial aid staff, Kim Morriso. Kim, are you here? She's not here. Okay, well, Kim is here, and she's a financial aid specialist. And then Kate Murphy. Is also a financial aid specialist, and we're so glad that we're here. So give those financial aid folks a... And then the same on the admissions side. Absent a director of financial aid, I was also missing a director of admissions, and we looked far and wide and the like, and we did have a pretty competitive pool, just as we did with financial aid, but. There are certain things, things you get when you meet a candidate and you say, wow, this guy gets it and he knows what he's doing. So Jake Yale came on as director of admissions, and that was about 7 months ago. And then most recently, Lori Smith. Is Lori here? Lori's here. Lori is our wonderful greeting person, receptionist, when you come into Alumni Hall. She's the one that really runs the show in terms of families coming on campus and their interviews. And then Mike Padlow is our newest admissions counselor. Now, he's a Bonnie's grad. And I told him, I said, you're used to that brown and yellow kind of color scheme. You need to update it. And he has successfully made the adjustment to purple. So he is an adjustment guy. And again, it's been a thrilling year. We have so much excitement ahead. I mean, this is, the power of this place is just beginning to show. And I'm thrilled to be part of it. I'm thrilled to be part of all that you do. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Brian. The materials Brian's alluding to, they just came out about a week and a half ago, and it's very distinctive, doesn't come in a white envelope. Messaging, it's not even bound. So different size pieces. It aligns with the outside of ordinary, and the whole intent is to pique people's interest and find out more about our university. So thanks to Brian and his team and Jody Bailey, who's been leading our marketing efforts in connection with CCA, our branding partner. Javina Lloyd is on a well-deserved break with her family, the first one she's had this summer. I'm going to ask Mark Guinan to come up and introduce our business and finance, including facilities folks. Most of you know, right, who's on the $1 bill? $20 bill? No? $50 bill? Grand. $100 bill? Franklin. There used to be also a $100,000 bill. It was traded in the 1930s, mainly between banks. Woodrow Wilson. But you've probably never seen an $870,000 bill, and we'll explain the significance. Javina and Mark in particular have been looking at self-insuring on the healthcare front. Through a consortia that we're part of in the state of New York, and certain colleges that have already been exploring this and have done this, Hobart William Smith, Clarkson, Colgate, Hamilton. We're going to be joining, we envision, as of January, a consortium that importantly will allow us to improve the benefits we provide our faculty staff when it comes to healthcare, because we'll have greater choices in terms of providers, and Mark and Javina will be working with faculty staff input as we go through this process. But there are also some significant savings on the order of $870,000 a year. This won't really take effect until next year. We're going to have to lay up some reserves when we make this move in January because self-insurance requires some additional caution in that regard. But this is going to be a significant improvement for our university on both the benefit and cost side. And I want to thank, let's see, we've got it framed for when Javina comes back, but you can convey this to her, Mark, with our thanks to both Mark and Javina for scouting this out.
Well, as the HR director, I'm fortunate that I get to meet every single one of these new people, and I want to welcome all of you to the organization, and I hope that you enjoy your stay here as much as I've enjoyed mine. In the business and finance group, we had a number of people that have joined us this year. Ms. Zeruvia Adams is a custodian. Ms. Heather Campbell is also a custodian. Pam Costello, custodian. Pat Coyle, grounds and landscaper. See, I broke the chain of custodians there. But back to it, Michael Elms, a new custodian. Grace Gertson, custodian. Tim Heckman, project manager of facilities and capital projects. Mike Honeycutt. Mike, stand up, I know you're here. Mike Honeycutt has joined us in our EH&S group as an EH&S coordinator. He joins his wife, who has been our wellness director for a number of years. Really glad to have you. Mark Ketchner, also a custodian, Haley Mercier, a custodian, and Ed Raisin, grounds and landscaper. We also have an operation called the Saxon Inn, and any of you who've ever had the opportunity to go up there, that's an absolutely beautiful facility and with a lot to be proud of. And Francis Spalacy has joined us as a front desk and night auditor. And then finally, we have one person from John's group at AVI Fresh, AU Fresh, and that's Rob Gonzalez, who's the sous chef. And want to welcome Rob here, back there raising his hand. So give all these people a hand of applause and be sure and welcome them as you go through their year.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Kathy Woofter is off hiking with our students in the WILD program, so she's not here. I'm still in denial after she told me that she was going to be following her husband, Bob, to the Adirondacks when he got his dream job. And this was after they got a close encounter with a bear. On their 25th wedding anniversary. It's apparently the scariest thing they've ever lived through. So we're going to give her a bear horn. There's still part of us that's hoping there are more encounters with bears and other wild animals in the Adirondacks that get her to change her mind. But we will find times to appropriately thank her and recognize her for her many wonderful contributions. And she asked me to introduce the folks that are new in student affairs. So we'll ask the following individuals to stand. First in athletics, Jordan Crouch, a men's women's head tennis and life skills coach. Brandon Harrison, sports information director. Erin McGaffigan, head women's lacrosse coach. Samantha Miller, assistant athletic trainer. Michael Moskowitz, head women's basketball coach. Stephen Pribble, the assistant football coach on the offensive side. Angie Taylor, men's, women's head track and field coach. Logan Gee, Apex advisor, one of our outstanding Miller Student Award winners at graduation in May. Faith Piat, secretary. Christopher Gauze, assistant director, Center for Academic Success. John Lewis in the Center for Student Involvement, director of student activities. Dr. Brian Saltzman, Director of Student Diversity and Inclusion. Jason Barnes, the barn assistant in our equestrian program, or one of our barn assistants. And Heather D'Andrea, hunt seat instructor, assistant IHSA coach. In the Pamela Levin Bernstein Center for Advising, Cassie McCarn, a new role, academic success coach. And Shelby O'Rourke, academic success coach. In public safety, Jessica Middow, public safety officer. Wellness Center, Jenny DeSanto, medical office assistant. Pam Jones, nurse practitioner. Marcel Lanahan, part-time physical therapy counselor. Emma Wolf, counselor. And then would also like to welcome in our communication staff, Zach Lyman, who's been behind all the great videos that we've been producing, and Jeff McDowell, digital content specialist writer. So join me in thanking them and welcome to our community. Okay, and just real quickly, want to thank our corporate secretary, who is my right-hand person in Carnegie. Her ability to multitask and to do it with good cheer. Our doors are right next to our offices are right next to each other, so I often hear what she's doing and the calm demeanor and the way she's channeling people the right way. So Mary, our IT staff. Figured out this device that'll allow you to multitask better. So you hang it around your neck and 6 phones at a time. So thank you for all you do, Mary, as well. Very quick introductions of our different staff faculty councils. Would first like to ask Crystal Henshaw on behalf of the Staff Support Council.
Thank you, Mark. I'd like to welcome everybody. I am, as Mark said, the chair of the Support Staff Council. And what the Support Staff Council does is we meet and discuss issues that might arise within the support staff, and we are there for each other and find ways to brainstorm and just communicate with each other and be part of the university as a community. We have a conference once a year where we meet for a half a day, and we do various trainings and professional and personal development. One of our big, I think, claim to fame that we're very proud of is that we raise money for the Gail Walker Book Fund. Just this past spring, we did one event and we raised over $600 that went directly to the book fund that helps students who can't afford books. I'd like to introduce the members, so if I say your name, or when I say your name, if you're here, if you could please stand. Bailey Grillo, Betsy Kent, Eliza Ordway, Gail Geppard, Keith Loins, M.T. Sick, Shannon Yoakum, Terry Drake, Valerie Ewald, Corey Carlin, Mariah Evans, and Dave Snyder. Thanks, everyone. They're a great group to work with. We actually have a couple of empty seats. So if you are at all interested in what the support staff does and finding out more about us, please contact me or one of the members that I just named. We do meet the Thursday of every month at 11 o'clock. You don't have to be on the council to come to the meetings. Everybody's welcome. So even if you're just interested in sitting in and finding out what we're about, then you're more than welcome to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mark Klingensmith. With Vicki Westacott, he co-chairs the Administrative Technical Specialist Council.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning. I'm a co-chair of the Administrative and Technical Specialist Council along with Vicki Westacott. I think she's finishing up some summer teaching responsibilities and couldn't be here. So ATS Council is here to represent administrative and technical specialist staff. I appreciate Mark having us here because we can't do a good job of that unless we have your involvement. So I'm going to talk just briefly about activities that the council does and then go through the list of existing council members and ask them to stand, whoever is here. ATS Council meets with, as an example of one of the things we do, we meet along with the faculty, student, and staff representatives with the president and the provost at the beginning of each semester. So these are some examples of the kind of influence you can have if you participate in ATS Council and why we really need to have you make contact with council members so that the council can understand how to represent your needs within the university community and governance structure. We also have representatives that sit on the benefits committee, the recognition committee, the tuition exchange committee, and as of last year, we now have a budget and planning committee. Again, representing your needs and in order to advocate for you, I'm going to go over the list of council members here and ask them to stand. I'd really like to thank Mark for giving us this opportunity, because we really do have an issue with your involvement in the council. Mark has, I think, very importantly made the statement a couple of times that we need to treat our people better. And I think that the council, one of the roles that the council can play is to provide guidance so that we can figure out how to best make that happen. And so make sure that you know who your representatives are within your area, and please take the opportunity, any opportunity you have, to communicate with them ideas that you might have in that respect. Okay? So I'm going to go through by area representatives, and if you could please stand up if you're here, and then we'll just hold our applause to the end if we could. So in academic affairs, we have Bonnie Dungan and Jared Cooper. I also have to say that we actually lost a number of members through attrition, but Vicki has been very busy and managed to grab on to some new council members that will serve until the next election. In business and finance, we have Kaylee Meisner. Enrollment management, Jeff Scharl and Sarah Love. New York State College of Ceramics, Don Weinhardt and myself. In student affairs, Alice Halloran, Vicki, and Jessica Hurlbut. From here. The last unit, university relations, we have a vacancy, so I'll also take this opportunity to solicit university relations to come up with a representative. So if you could give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. We'll just briefly acknowledge somebody who's starting his 50th year with us, Gary Ostrower. He's the acting president of the Faculty Senate. He's here even though he had eye surgery, major eye surgery, so he's seeing double right now. So our faculty staff size has doubled in his estimation, but we're delighted to have him here. Okay. I know we're against a time constraint. If you'd hang with us for just 10 more minutes, briefly touch on a few key points. Our new tagline that we've rolled out, especially based on prospective student input and current student input outside of ordinary, has reference to our rural location, also the combination of programs we have. We're not a typical liberal arts school. We also have an AACSB accredited business school, a top 10 school of art and design, a leading engineering program, especially in material science. So and we have this quirky streak. When CCA was interviewing us, they said that word came up often. But it also refers to the extraordinary things that get accomplished here. And Greg Connors alluded to the transformation that happened here due to the faculty staff, due to meeting his wife and the impact she had on his study habits. But let's keep that referent in mind as well. We're focusing on 5 brand chapters, 5 themes to Alfred University, and you'll see those, you already see these in the website and the print materials. And the more each of us will play on these themes in a different way, but it's important for us to be as consistent as possible. And this is something when CCA first previewed them, the feedback we gave them is these 5 ring true to who we are. The word that keeps coming back, and Becky alluded to it earlier, there's our valley's magic. Rebecca Bergeron was here a week and a half ago. The Bergeron Forum's named after her father. And she said when she met her husband here, they were talking about how there's this indescribable element to what happens here, but once you're here, it's unforgettable. And one of those magical moments happened last week. We had a strategic planning retreat with a subset of our board and also our administrative team. We've been investing through board alumni support in upgrading our residence halls. Phase 1 of Moskowitz Hall, courtesy of Ann Moskowitz last summer. We finished Phase 2 this summer. Courtesy of Marlon Miller, we started on Teft next door, Phase 1. It'll get finished next summer. And we've been thinking about how do we potentially connect the two, create a greater sense of community. Jamie Babcock and his team came up with a rendering of how we could accomplish this, and we were able to present it at the meeting last week. And Marlon, who's just as classy a person as you'll ever meet, said, I'll fund it. And this is a $1.8 million project. It's 2 levels of connection. It'll be wheelchair accessible on both levels. On the second level from on top. We're going to be working closely with Vicki Gable, Kathy Woofter's team to make sure this design gets fleshed out right. But Marlon's wish is also do this as soon as possible so that we keep building on that momentum. And we're going to capitalize on a HECAP grant we received for $667,000, so that'll go toward that project. Marlon will do the balance. And we committed to the board what'll be up next in terms of residence halls by the October meeting, so that beyond this link, we can keep creating that positive momentum and improving the immersive learning experience for our students. Second brand chapter, inclusive from the start. We've got a rich heritage to build on there. And probably the most inspiring project I've been part of in 2 years here has been something called Common Ground that we're rolling out for all of our incoming students, all 500, and we think we'll end up with close to 510. So transfers as well as first years. We stumbled into this due to the racist video, due to the Against Our Will panel, where we notice sometimes, or too often, you end up preaching to the choir. We have a rich diversity of political ideologies, religions, geography, race, ethnicity, majors. So how do we better benefit from that? We're going to be scrambling all our incoming students into groups of roughly 19. We have 28 facilitators, and it'll be a facilitated dialogue. Where do I hail from as a student joining this community, so that we become more sensitive to the differences that we bring to the equation? But more importantly, what values am I committing to living by, becoming a citizen of this Alfred University community? So that potentially when these become alums 10, 25 years out, we can take them out of the time capsule and see to what extent did you actually live those values, and where did I fall down? Where did I not live my word? I want to thank in particular 5 individuals who've been helping us coordinating this. Melissa Ryan and Bob Stein, they're both here. Where are they? They've been the co-chairs of this group. We've got for each of these coordinating committee members these new Common Ground shirts printed pro bono by one of our trustees with their name on the side and a C for captaining these efforts. Hope Childers. Hope, are you here? Tricia DeBartolis. Tricia? Umar Sumaharo is not here and Sundaram's traveling, but we've provided a very small stipend to them to make this happen. And the memory I've had when I first took on a project of writing a textbook in my first faculty job, I thought it would pay for the kids' college education. And somebody who'd written the textbook before me said, you know, be careful what you're getting into. It'll probably amount to no more than 25 cents an hour. Found out it was a vast overestimate relative to, but it did it out of love more than anything else. And I think the 25 cents an hour is a vast overestimate in terms of this coordinating committee, how much time and effort they've put getting off the ground. And want to personally thank the board that has committed $100,000 toward this endeavor. To helping provide food at the different gatherings, as well as to put together this team of facilitators. So we're very excited about how this will, it came to us by accident, but how it'll be an important way, a manifestation of our inclusivity. Top programs to mix and match. We've got this incredible variety here in 1 square mile. And one of the secrets is how do we better, in creating this, making this magic even more impactful, how do we create greater opportunities for our students? The anonymous gift from a graduate that we were able to celebrate in May in honor of Bill LaCourse and his dream of building a better bridge between art and design and engineering. Alistair Cormack over the summer visited the Dublin Institute of Technology and said, you know, they've got something brewing like that there, but they also mix in business. So we're intrigued as to where this will lead us because student passions often span individual units, and sometimes they don't know when they join us, and giving them the opportunity to explore and build, we think will allow us to further build on that theme. We have a maker culture. And Apex is going to be a key way to make that even more manifest. It rolls out this fall. We've already had over 60 applications, up to a $1,000 grant. We're hiring an Apex student to help us with Common Ground. A number of faculty are using Apex grants to be able to combine some international travel with a course or a project that they're going to be delivering. So how do we bring this more to life? Again, it's courtesy of one trustee in particular, but a number of other alums and friends that have provided the philanthropic funding, and Logan now is spearheading the review and the making of these Apex Awards, and then they get fulfilled appropriately. And think about how, this crossroads, we have this one intersection, but how this X also keeps coming up, the cross between programs and the X and Apex. We're a talent incubator, and one of the opportunity we have to work with so many talented students and see their lives get launched, to be able to interact with somebody that we've produced and is now coming back as our dean of the Inamori School of Engineering, that we created that impact. Brian Hill will be back as our convocation speaker on Friday. He's now the chief executive of Fairfax County. He and his wife met here, and the impact we had on his life now he's having on the broader world. Just having the opportunity, Anastasia Campbell, our president for the day, and just to watch as she's grown as a student with us. Here's somebody who was very nervous joining. Could I even cut it in college? And now she's close to a 4.0 student. Nervous again about going on exchange to England in a few weeks, but to see the proactivity and the reaching out and the different ways she's developed as an individual and where she'll go with that. When we were at Tesla, we were able to connect an alum who runs glass there with our alum Don McPherson that's created the glasses that correct for color blindness. And there's some potential for an intersection there because Tesla's intrigued, could we use this concept to make the world more vivid for drivers? So you don't have to be colorblind, but maybe you can see the world in a more vivid way, and this would distinguish our brand. And if you're colorblind, you can see better if that light's red or orange and promote greater safety. And then there are tragic times like this summer with Nick Clark, and never had the opportunity to meet him, but the impact he had on people's lives. This picture is from a recent Buffalo News story, another alum, and the impact the individual that Nick had on this individual in launching his career. And the way the community came together in a slow time of the year with a lot of other stuff going on, if there was a silver lining to that tragic episode, it was that we were able to pull together and remember what makes us special, not just what Nick did with his life, but the community that helped create him and celebrate his life. And then one of Angus Power's, only in Alfred, when you're walking around near Harder Hall, do you see creations like that yellow glass object. Think about the Roman numeral X. And Greg encouraged us to think along those lines. We want to take better care of our people. It's a key strategic objective. And something to keep in mind is something Jason Amor does with his team, that you've got to pull at least 10x your weight in terms of gifts commitments. We impact the organization in different ways, some of us through fundraising, some of us through research grants, some of us through launching student lives, helping them discover their passions and develop the confidence then to pursue those passions. Google has a similar mentality of 10x projects, things that by an order of magnitude will keep the company moving forward. Would argue that if we have this X mentality, that each of us, the Roman numeral, can pull at least 10 times our weight, we will achieve our objective of better taking care of our people and staff in short order. And with that X, we'll just leave you with one other, Fiat Lux. We're delighted you're back. We look forward to working with you this school year and with our returning students and incoming students. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the patience to hang with us.